losses instead of the 11 straight wins? Has it been a little, players have been saying more attentive to details? Is that the way practices have been this week?
Probably, and they may have a heightened sense of attention to detail. I think that's been lacking a little bit in the last couple of games. We've talked about that. But to that end, I don't know that our approach necessarily has been different than how we've tried to go about things.
When you go in after 2 straight losses, is it a positive, the fact that you had a long time to prepare? Now you had the Monday night game, and now you have pretty much a whole week to prepare for a St. John's team. When you look at it, is it a positive to kind of sit back in those 2 losses and take a long time to let it settle?
I think I look at it a different way. We went through a stretch where we had 3 or 4 games in 6 or 7 days, and so you get a chance to rest a little bit and recoup, as well as focus in on, but then we start up again. So we go Sunday, Tuesday, right here again, and start to focus in on our next 2 opponents also.
Right, going into, I mean, you've been there before plenty of times, and a lot of the players have been there. They'll be there for the Big East tournament, but playing in a place like Madison Square Garden, is it kind of a neat feeling to go in there, an afternoon game, and to play in one of the more historical spots that, I mean, you guys will be back there at the end of the year?
Yeah, it's personally, it's unbelievable. I mean, when you walk into the building, I said this before, you get on that freight elevator going upstairs, you walk in, you see the ceiling, the horn's different than any other horn in the country, and so just playing there is special.
What does St. John's do? I know they had a lot of preseason buzz around this team, and they've struggled a little bit. What do they do differently than maybe some of the other teams in this conference?
I probably want to get into comparing and contrasting. I think that they have very good offensive players to put pressure on you. They're coming at you at the offensive end. And then defensively, they play a zone that's truly unique, but to go along with their man-to-man. And so, finding where you're going to get your points from is difficult against them.
I know you can't really talk too much about it, but Coach Lavin has been quite sick this year. How tough do you think that has been on their players with Coach Lavin being, dealing with the sickness he's had?
And I'm in no position to speak for them.
Exactly.
But, going through a season like that has to be tremendously difficult, when your coach is there but is not able to be there 100%. And the concern that you have for him and his health, coupled with the normal concerns that come along with the season, probably has to be very difficult for them.
I guess it's in the long run. You mentioned 4 games in whatever it was, 6-7 days. You had this time off. Have you seen any new energy with the players? The fact that you've had a long time to prepare and kind of sit back and had days off, which you don't usually get too much in the Big East because it's so rigorous.
True. I think the way that question is worded, then there's an assumption that our energy level had dropped off, and I don't think so. I mean, we've had, I guess for lack of a better way to put it, some spirited practices, and we anticipate having one in a few minutes here this week, and I think that's been good.
Thanks, Coach.